Hey, this is Kim. In this video, I would like to introduce you to my baby, which is the League of Pandas, Way of the Panda Oracle. This deck is 4 years in the making, and the cards were actually done pretty fast. It's the concepting, the experience that I was trying to create, and the guidebook that were taking a long time. And also, the creative process of this deck also kind of spanned across a very difficult period of my life that required a lot of resilience and healing. But now that that's over, a lot of the EXPs ended up in this deck. So League of Pandas is 44 cards. It's card and guidebook set. So in this guide, if you want a thorough walkthrough where you get to look at the box, the insides, the guidebook, and also just the cards, there's another video for that. In this video, I'm mostly going to be introducing you just verbally what this deck is about. So League of Pandas has 44 members. Each card is a Panda member from the League of Pandas. There are 8 Guardians, 32 Champions, and 4 Sidekicks. And within the 32 Champions, there are 8 different Panda squads, and each squad has 4 Panda Champion members. So I'm going to be walking you through the categories of this deck. You can kind of view them as suits. In order for this metaphor and this story to come to life, just activate your imagination. Ride on the waves of your imagination with me for a little bit. Just imagine that League of Pandas is arriving on Earth, and this team of glorious, magical, extremely talented, and uniquely skilled pandas are here to lend you a paw. And their mission, their only mission, is basically to be here so that you can summon them through this deck of cards. You can summon them even without the deck of cards. You can just summon them in your head by calling to them. You get to summon them so they can come into your life and really lend you their paws, encourage you, support you, empower you, embolden you, hold space for you, heal you, and just be there for you in all the seasons and chapters and cycles of your life. No matter what is happening, no matter what journey you're embarking on, no matter what destination or what dreams you're chasing, the pandas are there for you. And this deck is a very introspective deck. It sort of activates your intuition and portals it through your creativity and the liminal mind, and also just through your imagination, creating this whimsical experience of deep introspection. In a way, it's kind of cozy and epic at the same time. It's very cozy because pandas make you feel safe. The watercolor art, the illustrations are very soft. It's very impressionistic. I wouldn't say it's completely minimalistic. It's a little minimalistic. The soft lines, or just maybe the lack of lines, and also the white spaces, they really just allow your intuition to attach to the images without being too overwhelming. As much as I love looking at good art, and I have decks that I purchased purely because I really enjoy looking at the art and intricate details, sometimes for an HSP like me, for my intuition to activate, looking at all the details on the card, sometimes it's a little overstimulating. I don't know about you, but that's just my experience sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes I definitely go for the maximalist, super detailed tarot decks, but this deck is not one of those decks. So what I'm trying to say, the art is very focused on a panda archetype in this particular movement that they're doing. And it's meant for you to just be able to access their character codes and their characteristics without being overwhelmed, without being distracted by too many details. So if you're really into that, this deck will be for you. If you want to look at the artwork more closely, you can check out my walkthrough video again. So anyway, back to the League of Pandas. There's 4 Guardians, 32 Champions, and 4 Sidekicks. I want to introduce you to each group of pandas and really just share with you how I designed them, how I envisioned them, and how they came to me. So the Guardians are the archetypes, and there's so many archetypes that represent the different journeys and different aspects of human consciousness and psyche, but these 8 archetypes are the ones that I handpicked, or the ones that pandas have paw-picked to be included in this deck, because they really represent the spiritual, creative, and introspective journey of journeying to the center of your inner universe, of inner exploration, and doing things like parts work and meeting the inner characters within you, such as meeting your inner child, such as meeting your angry, wounded teenager, or even meeting some of your light aspects like your inner adult, your inner protector, your inner guardian. It's about meeting those characters, and these pandas are sort of like a conduit. They're kind of like manifestations of those characters that you can see the parts of you represented in those pandas, but obviously they're in a shape and form of pandas. And Panda Guardians, the Panda archetypes of this deck, They represent the bigger, overarching, spiritual, introspective, and personal development growth themes that you're currently cycling through. And when I was creating them, I really envisioned them to be rulers of their realm. For example, Shadow, the Shadow Work Panda, the archetype of the Shadow, is not just the archetype of the Shadow, they're really the figurehead of their respective realms. When you get Shadow, when you get a Pandarchetype card, when you encounter a guardian in your spread, when a guardian enters your life, when you meet them face to face, you're not just meeting this archetype. To me, it's not as simple as that. I really want you to envision yourself and just imagine yourself as someone who is journeying across the realms. This archetype could kind of encompass a particular chapter in your life, maybe a couple of manifestation cycles, a few weeks, a few months, or it could really just inform you on the most important spiritual topics right now that will lead you closer to your truth, that will lead you closer to your healing and your transformation. And when you're passing through their realms, all kinds of stories can happen. There's all the plot thickens. All kinds of things could happen. And then there's also plenty of characters that we're going to meet. So you're not just meeting the Shadow, because within the realm of your Shadow and your repressed self, there's just so much going on, right? It's like an entire landscape, an entire kingdom. That's why I envision them to be the figureheads of their realms. And when you encounter them in a spread, you're not just meeting them and they're here to just tell you something. Although that could be the case, not every single reading needs to be like a heavy hitting, deep diving shadow work session. Sometimes it's a lighthearted message. They are pandas after all. Sometimes they're just here for tea. Sometimes they're just cute. They just want to spend time with you. But if you were to position yourself in the position of having that ultimate panda power, when you encounter a Pandarchetype, when you encounter Wonder Cup, Shadow, Mariki, Waybear, you're meeting the figurehead of the archetypal realm. And what you can do is, when you summon them, I would say the Pandarchetypes are more like royalties, honestly. It's kind of like you earned an audience with them. They don't have that, like, they don't have that hierarchy. They're not going to be like, I don't want to see you today. Maybe if they don't want to see you, it's because you're repressing something or you're like avoiding them. But anyways, that's not the point. When you're encountering these figureheads and you place yourself in that position of power and agency and free will and just you get to create whatever experience you want to have. You can have a conversation with them, with these Pandarchetypes, and you can make requests, you can make demands, you can set powerful intentions with them. When you see Shadow and you can tell them, there is a very particular part of me that I would like to meet, and you have the power to make it happen. You can interact with that Pandarchetype in that way. You can say, I'm here to rescue my inner child, the part of me that I abandoned in my previous relationships, the one that was neglected, the one that didn't feel heard or safe or seen, the one whose voice was just locked in her throat and could not get out. I'm here for her. I'm here for him. I'm here for them. You can make that request. And with that intention, you just activate all that energy within you, and magic happens when you set a powerful intention. I think this is sort of the philosophy of like ask and you shall receive. It's sort of like the subtleties of manifesting in a way. I don't know if it makes sense, but basically it's not just that you're summoning these Pandarchetypes for funsies, which is also what it's about. It's for fun. It's about you summoning that part of yourself and interacting with that part of yourself through this archetype. So the Pandarchetypes are the rulers of their archetypal realms. When you meet them, you can interact with everything that they encompass. You can journey through their landscape. It's almost like you're exploring. You have the map to their kingdom and they're granting you access. You're always going to be their friend, and you're always going to be a part of their archetypal realm because they are a part of you and you're a part of them. So that's the Pandarchetypes. Which is, basically honing in on the theme that this deck really positions you as the person making the decisions, that you have the power, the Panda power. And I want to use Panda power as a phrase because I think the word power, for a lot of maybe, if you're like me, who's an HSP and empath, someone who's more introverted and more sensitive and more deeply sensing and deeply feeling, the word power might have a negative connotation to you. It might feel like, you don't get to wield that kind of power because it equals control. it means towering over someone. It equals not letting them beat themselves or doing harm. That's power over. There's a version of power that you can step into that allows you to be free in a decision that you're making. That's personal power. There's also power with, where you collaborate with someone and you empower each other to create something together. So Panda Power is basically the soft powers and the resilient powers that are outside of that cloud of negative connotation that equates control and dominance and tyranny. Panda Power is about giving power back to yourself and meeting your needs, taking care of your feelings, taking care of your emotions, taking care of yourself, and allowing yourself to pursue the things you want to pursue. This deck is not just about sitting back and being super laid back and relaxing all the time. It's about relaxing when you need to and then going after your dreams. Which leads me to the Panda Champions. There are 8 squads in the Panda Champions category. Each squad has 4 different Panda Champions. 4 Panda Champions, when they basically found each other because they share a similar vision and mission for humanity, for the person who's holding the deck. And if you look at the different squads, there's 8 of them. They're dreamers, warriors, villains, light bearers, seekers, foodies, and romantics. I think there's another one that I'm leaving out. Anyways, there's like 8 squads, and each squad, for example, if you take the Dreamer squad, there's 4 different Panda Champions. It's 4 ways of dreaming. Warriors are protectors. It's 4 ways of protecting. 4 different ways and aspects of protecting. Foodies means to prosper and abundance, sharing and gratitude. It's 4 ways of prospering and sharing and finding treasures in your life. So I really mean it when I say like I meticulously designed all the characters and all the concepts within this deck. That's why it took so goddamn long on top of the mental health stuff that I was dealing with. That's the idea behind the champions. Champions are different from the Panda archetypes. Champions are really portals of power. They're not an entire realm that you're passing through because, for example, the shadow archetype and the inner child archetype, there's just so many different subtopics that go underneath it. Champions are more specific. They represent a way of power, a way of being, a powerful perspective that you get to have and that you get to step into. So when you summon a champion, you embody that champion's power. You embody what they are here to offer. You just imagine a Panda champion standing behind you, putting their paws like this and just transmuting, just pouring power into you. And when I say power, I want you to picture not just conceptual power and also or just free will. Also just picture magical powers and magical currents and sparkles and bamboo blessings just going into your skin, into your body. Champions imbue power and grant you magical abilities so you can slay through life. And each squad has a very specific mission, and each squad also represents an arena in life, an aspect of life. Dreamers obviously represent your visions, brainstorming when you're expanding, when you're exploring the different possibilities of the future, when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, when you are transforming and becoming. It has that expansive energy. That's what dreamers are about. Warrior squad, as I said earlier, they are protectors. They protect, they hold boundaries, they could keep you away from harm and take you, keep you away from danger. Light bearers and villains. I should have, this is like a little note, the warriors, the light bearers, and the villains, they have like, I don't know if this is the right word, symbiotic or like a triangle relationship, or they have a lot of relationships with each other. They're different, they're each other's counters, they're each other's like light aspect or shadow aspect. So you will find out more about their relationships with each other in the guidebook. But just for now, villains obviously are shadow aspects, the aspects of us that we repress. It's about the parts of ourselves that have to adapt, the masks and personas that we have to wear in order to survive. And these aspects of us most often are not very healthy. They lead to self-sabotage, they lead to inauthenticity, they lead to harm, they lead to the opposite of well-being, which is harm, I guess. So that's the villains. I really enjoyed writing the villains entries. It's just so interesting to write about the human shadow. So I think you'll enjoy reading those sections in the guidebook. Light bearers are kind of like the exact opposite. If the villains represent inauthenticity and the masks we wear, light bearers are the parts of us that are genuine, authentic, that are sort of fueled by expression, by our essence, by unconditional love, by unconditional acceptance and radical acceptance. Light bearers are here to ignite and the light within us, to tell it, like telling us to shine and radiate. And there's obviously 4 different pandas that embody the spirit of letting your light shine. Let's see what else. Next we have go-getters. I think that was the squad I forgot to mention. Go-getters originally were actually called the hustlers, and I changed it because I sort of became allergic to the word hustle, because it took me years to detoxify myself and step away from hustle culture, because hustle culture can be so addicting. I can make a whole series and an entire book about hustle culture, because hustle culture really activates our wounds of lack and feeling inadequate and feeling insecure, and because hustle culture is sort of running on the desire to be recognized, fast-tracked success, your hockey stick moment, triple, exponentially grow your business and figuring out the right systems. There's a lot of energy of control and conquer and perfectionism, and also greed, and also hungry ghost energy in hustle culture, which when you have trauma and you have self-worth issues, and you're also like an overworker and you're like an overachiever, hustle culture is like a drug. It took me years to get off of it, and it didn't help that hustle culture and overworking and productivity is so normalized that it's even praised if you're just working so much. So I changed it to go-getters because I wanted to still highlight some of the great aspects of hustle culture and ambition, such as commitment and discipline and problem solving and tenacity. These are great qualities from hustle culture. It's really easy to become addicted to hustle culture, but there's still a lot of amazing positive aspects to hustle culture that, you know, go-getting and leaning into your ambition and solving problems and never giving up. I think these are really the ingredients for success, and also keeping yourself grounded and practical when you're trying to create something, when you're trying to achieve something. So the go-getters are about that. So it's what I feel like are the best parts of hustle culture. You see Boss Panda, which is about leadership and sovereignty. You see Penny Lemon, which is about being resourceful and utilizing the ingredients and resources that you have to create something new. That is my phone. Pretend that it didn't just ring. So that's the go-getters. And go-getters are sort of contrasted by the romantics. Sorry, I'm going really, really fast. It's been a while since I'm able to just really speak my voice like this. My voice was so blocked. There was like a huge cloggage in my throat chakra for so long, and I just struggled with making content because, yeah, that's a long story. But here I'm just feeling better about my voice, and I'm really excited to be sharing this with you. So I'm going kind of fast. But yes, go-getters are contrasted by the romantics. The romantics are the exact opposite of hustle culture. Of go-getting. Go-getting is about getting things done. Romantics are just about experiencing things with the simple goal, with no goal. The goal is just to experience things. The goal is to just rest for the sake of resting, to enjoy things for the sake of enjoying it, being in the moment and being in your body. It doesn't have an end goal. It doesn't have a container. It doesn't have a structure as to how you should go about it. The romantics are just chilling and being leisurely and just enjoying their lives. So the romantics are about slowing down and taking the scenic route, to smell the roses, to just allow yourself to rest, to meditate, to flow, which is what you need to balance out the periods of go-getting. You need to rest and unwind and allow yourself to create and express and just enjoy life for the sake of enjoying it, not resting so you could get back to work again. That was the curse of hustle culture. It's like you even need to optimize your resting time. You have to rest so you can get back to work. Basically treating yourself like less than a person and treating yourself like a machine. I swear, some people treat their cars better than they treat themselves. If the car is broken down, they would go get it fixed, maintain it, but not when it comes to their own health, which is ironic, but very telling of what hustle culture is when it becomes very toxic, right? So anyways, we have the foodies. No, foodies is actually the last group. I don't really have a logic of how I order them. It just feels right to me, so I'm just following my intuition in that regard. Seekers squad are a group of pandas that are about investigating, using your brain, using your logic, using your critical thinking, and just basically extracting or finding information in different ways. And you can do this through investigating, detective panda. You can do this with communication. There's also a softer approach when it comes to investigating that's not all logic. You just allow yourself to be receptive and open. That's also a way to get information and to think things through. So there's also that. It's the different ways of thinking and finding out and investigating and inquiring. And then we have the foodie squad, one of my favorites, which is about abundance, manifestation, self-worth, gratitude, and sharing, and also collaboration and community. Just all the things that make you feel abundant. And you see a lot of food imageries here. And these are just the 4 different pandas that are about like basically sending blessings your way. And this group took me a long time because for a while I was in healing mode and shadow work mode and just healing my trauma mode. It took me a long time to actually connect with these characters, with the pandas from Foodie Squad, because they really need, I think, a vibration of self-worth. So it took me a long time to grow the self-love within me to be able to speak to these pandas. So if you're having trouble talking to the foodies group and you're like, it could speak to a sense of undeservedness, feeling like you're unworthy to receive abundance in your life. And then last but not least, so yeah, those are the champion squads, and I'm really excited to be really excited to see what happens once this deck is out and people start using them. I really just I have so much fun concepting this deck, because not only do you get to work with these incredible champion pandas, guardian pandas, and sidekicks, and really interact with their energy and learn about them, you also get to create fun missions and basically like, I don't know. It's like you're creating things and also learning things with your intuition. You're dreaming things into being, you're transforming. You're using metaphors and panda characters and symbols to lay out a blueprint and map for your life and to create new journeys and new possibilities and new timelines and new eras. So that's why this deck is so exciting, because when I first concepted this deck, actually, let me introduce you to the sidekicks first, and then I will tell you about my original intention for this deck, and then we'll wrap up this video because it's getting kind of long and I need a break. So the sidekicks, last but not least, are non-panda creatures but are very panda-hearted, and they too answer the calling to be part of this League of Pandas. I don't have a deep reason for putting them in this deck. I have some inklings, but for the most part, they're just so cute and I wanted them in the deck because I love red pandas. And I love cats. I don't know if you know, but in Chinese, a panda is literally translated to be like 熊猫, which means bear cat. So having a cat in this deck is a must. And then obviously we have the trash panda, raccoon, and then we have the brother bear, because pandas are in the bear family, I guess. Even though I think there was a research done that says that the DNA of a panda is closer to being a raccoon, but we do have a raccoon in this deck, so everything is covered, I guess. So it was just fun to put different creatures in this deck. And I think by putting non-panda creatures in the deck, it sort of highlights the relationship that you get to have when you're being collaborative and interdependent with people who are maybe a little different from you, people who have different perspectives. I think it sort of highlights the relationship that you can have. So obviously the pandas have strong bonds with each other, but it's about the friendships that we forge with maybe energies that are very different from us, energies that are a little sort of maybe energies within our community, things like that. So, but yeah, there really is no deep reason. I just really wanted them to be in this deck, and I'm not apologizing because they're so darn cute. Yeah, sidekicks are there to support the champions mostly. I think the guardians, they are almost like stand alone. They're like big archetypal consciousness represented by panda. Sidekicks are, and anytime you see a sidekick in your spread, it will have a brightening effect. It amplifies whatever the panda champions that are present and the panda guardians, and even the villains. The sidekicks can get along the villains. So yeah, sidekicks are there to just add to the magic of the pandas, and they play a supporting role in the missions that the pandas lead, that you'll take them on, and also just the effects and powers of the panda champions especially. So that would be the entire League of Pandas. Before we close, I would like to share with you my original intention for this deck. This deck took a long time. I think it's been like 4 years, and then just so many things happened in between. And my original intention for this deck was because I made Way of the Panda Tarot, which was more for like descriptive readings. It already has a blueprint, right? It has the structure of tarot, so I didn't have to do a lot of innovation on the structure itself. I just have to do basically just create a tarot deck with a pre-existing structure and the archetypes that are present. But my original intention for this deck was to create something that really adds movement into your life. This deck was, I wanted it to be very adventurous. I wanted this deck to be that you can use for manifesting and dreaming and transforming. I wanted to create a deck that pours power into you, that generates momentum for you. And it doesn't have to be everyone's dream is different. Small dreams, soft dreams, dreams that are high in the sky, and dreams that are grounded and cozy. It's still like a very introspective deck because I think like knowing who you are and knowing what you need and knowing what your values are really play an important role when it comes to manifesting and creating things that you want in your life. Because if you don't know yourself, if you don't know what you need, you can't really expect yourself to it's really hard to take care of yourself and love yourself the way that you are when you don't even know what's inside. So I think that's what manifesting is to me. Like this deck is about manifesting, and to manifest something you need to step into your power, and to step into your power you need to know yourself and know who you are and know what your needs are and know where your values are and know how to align, know what decisions to make, what path to take. So, and manifesting to me is not just about visualizing the idea. It's not just about visualizing a desired outcome. I think manifesting to me is much more intimate. It happens on the inside, because it's not that you are creating a physical reality that will somehow descend upon you and all of a sudden you have all the things that you've ever wanted in your life or start to have those things. I think manifesting is about becoming the version of yourself that will make the decisions that will eventually lead you to those outcomes. A very simple example is if you want to get fit, then you have to go to the gym. It's not about picturing you having a fit body, but it's about becoming the person that makes the decision to be fit every day. And you become that person, and then you're in that reality now, and you manifested it. And manifesting is just a combination, like a journey of manifesting is, to me anyways, it's a combination of knowing yourself, so introspection, healing and processing your trauma to release the negative patterns that are holding you back, and then making new decisions and new choices. And to do that, you need to have tools and resources to navigate towards what you want, to have the resilience to face your mistakes and confront the parts of you that are holding you back. All of that, like all that leveling up, all that manifesting, all that energy is what I wish to put into this deck. It's really a deck about transforming yourself and stepping into your dreams, not by becoming someone else, but by becoming the most powerful version of you. And this powerful version of you doesn't have to look like a conventional image of power. It could be a cozily ever after. It could be you just finding more time to do creative things. This deck is about stepping into the most powerful version of you and stepping into the most powerful and wonderful timeline. So yeah, I hope this deck helps you Panda power up, and I hope that it helps you level up your magic in the most cozy and epic ways, in the most imaginative and spiritual and emotive and empathetic, just most wonderful ways and panda-tastical ways possible. Yeah, it is funding a Kickstarter right now, and the campaign will end on November 14th. So if you're viewing this video after the campaign is finished, check my website and check my Instagram for more information if you want to purchase this deck or if you want to find out more about the deck. And if you have any questions or feedback or comments about this deck, or if you resonated with any of the things that I said, if you're excited about any of the things that I said, leave a comment down below. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful and possum and panda-tastic day.